We hope you brought the aloe and sunscreen.
Bullshit.
Because these takes are scorching hot. Now, get ready for some raw,
You want it raw?
gritty, and unfiltered takes from the old man, Don himself.
She can't say the truth because it does make her look like an idiot. Because that's what she is.
These are Pop's Takes, right here on BV Nation Radio.
Bullshit.
All right, and what is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Pop's Takes right here on Backwoods Veterans Media. And please be sure to head over and check out our website of backwoodsvets.com, where you catch up on all the latest and greatest of what's going on in BV Nation, and hit up that Fall in the Outdoors raffle as we raffle off that Vortex Impact 850 rangefinder donated by our friends over at Vortex Optics. So tickets are $10 a piece over on our website, $200 value. Be sure to head over and pick up your tickets now. Drawing will be held on Sunday, June 27th, live on BV Nation Radio. So be sure to tune in for that one. And in the meantime, again, it is Pop's Takes, which, hey, old man.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Hey, how about that? We're on time on the right night. See, that's what old age does.
That's fair. Right. That's fair, I guess. So
anyhow.
And we got a couple of people checking in. We got Mr. Carl checking in.
Hey,
He's
Carl.
like, oh, yeah, first, Mr. Dean Cerny.
Hey.
And our good buddy Terrell checking in. What's going on, fellas? Good to see you checking in the comments there. So please, if you guys can, go ahead and share this little ditty out. Help get the wise words of the old man out there, to say the least. So what's going on? What's on your mind this week, Pop?
I guess one of the things that I'm so sick and tired of hearing these people called an insurrection. That deal at the White House was not caused by, there was a lot of Trump supporters there to protest, but they were not the ones that were doing all the violence and all the things that disrupted everything. Those were, it's been proven that were people that, real instigators that wanted to instigate problems.
Right.
And people don't seem to understand what an insurrection is. An insurrection usually is, if you go to another country where they got some of these insurrections they're having,
right.
You talk about violence.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of these folks understand what exactly that is.
They're using things like mortars and rockets and all that kind of stuff. So, hey, people, these people are just protesting what they called a protest. I guess they were called protests back before the election, right?
Right.
Now they're called insurrections.
Insurrections and rioting, right?
And I'm getting awful tired of hearing all that.
Well, you know, what they're protesting doesn't fit the narrative. That's the problem. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't condone violent action if it's unnecessary.
No, I don't condone people go in and try and tear up our other people's property, including public property. Public property belongs to all of us. We bought and paid for it. So therefore, let's take care of that instead of trying to destroy it.
Exactly. But Dean nails it on the head too. He's like, I mean, it's not only our right, but our constitutional duty to remove a tyrannical government. Last I checked, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is part of, part of why our Constitution was written,
let's
right?
face it. Sometimes I say a couple things that they don't like too much. The tech people, I guess, they don't really care for it. But let me tell you something, people. I got something to say about it. I fought for over 8 years to maintain the right for everybody to be able to say what they believed or what they thought. And when you start trying to close us down and keep us from speaking our minds, then you are the traitors. You are the people that are going against the Constitution. And therefore, you should be contradicted for it, and you should be brought to task for it. And that's just exactly what I've got to say.
All right.
I told you I was going to get kind of mean sometimes.
Hey, you know what? Do it. By all means. It's your segment. We're going to get to it. And oh, by the way, there he is. He said it. That's the show, folks. Peace out. No, I'm kidding. What more needs to be said?
Well, you can't say a whole lot more about it except that I had to get that off my chest. I mean, I've been pushed down because they thought I was saying things that I guess that I didn't believe or whatever. I don't know. But, they're not the only ones that have a right to speak.
Absolutely.
But I got to tell you one thing. I wish the hell they'd quit giving all their lies out about everything and everybody. It's getting tiresome and sickening. And let's start remembering, what was our country founded on? Why did the Pilgrims come over here? Why were people coming why do people want to come in this country now? What they're coming away from, you've got politicians here trying to make it like they've got in the other countries.
Right.
The ones they're getting away from. They're trying to get away from something, but they're coming into what these people are trying to make the same way that they left. So,
because it's a power vacuum. Essentially, I mean, if you think about it, this is what these idiots in government, particularly in the House and the Senate right now, they're looking at as a power vacuum, and even all the way up to the highest levels of our government, from the top to the bottom right now, especially in, at least 2 to 3 bringing branches of government. Yes, yeah. I said 2 to 3. And the third is not either the Congress or the Senate, because that's one. That is legislative. For those of you that apparently failed government class in high school, you have your executive.
Well, they don't have government.
Yeah, if you're legislative, and you have your judicial. And since the executive and the legislative are ruled by a friggin' majority right now, on the other side, the only thing we have keeping some sort of checks and balances right now would be our judicial branch. So,
well, somebody's got to do something. And we got the election coming up in 22. Hopefully that we'll get some people running that have got some sense about them.
Yeah, one would only hope.
But you talk about lying, okay? Mm-hmm. The politicians that lie and all that. Well, how about this? What's his name? Mayor? Something like that for the
Ted Wheeler?
The guy in charge of the DHS.
Okay.
He's sitting there saying the border's closed.
What?
He said, "Did you hear that on the?" He
no,
come right out and said that the border is closed. Have you looked to see it closed lately?
No, I have not.
Oh yeah, 6,000 people. I think it was 6. I know they're coming in through it by the thousands, and they're stopping. They're stopping. Okay.
Mayorkas? Are you talking
Mayorkas.
About Secretary Mayorkas?
Well, Mayor, yeah. Secretary Mayorkas. Anyhow, I hadn't heard anything about him until just recently. I didn't even know who he was until.
Yeah, the first I ever heard that guy's name, honestly.
And
so
supposedly he says, we've closed the border now. We shut it down.
How?
Yeah.
How'd you close the border?
They have a petition going.
He can't close the border, because if he closes the border now, it goes against the progressive narrative.
Well, you heard their petition going out now that they're trying to get people to sign into that. They want him to reinstate. They want all of the Trump policies for the immigration policies or the border policies to be reinstated.
Oh, that's funny. And the reason I laugh so much about that is because they swore for the longest time. The Democrats and progressive left have swore for the longest time, ever since 45 put those policies in place. They all said, "Oh, well, it's racist and it's anti-Semitic, and he's just, it's just so wrong. He shouldn't be doing this." Well, guess what? a lot of those policies that were put in place were already there. They were put in place by the Obama administration,
right.
and DHS was acting lackadaisical about it. Trump finally told Homeland Security, no, this is what's on the books. You're going to enforce it.
Yeah.
And because he was actually making them enforce said laws, the progressive left lost their minds over it. And as soon as O'Biden, as I like to call him, the third term of Obama, friggin' came in and started wiping out and shutting down all these policies that 45 put into place, and now they're figuring out, okay, well, maybe this wasn't such a bad idea, and now they're going to put them back into place. And you watch, mark my words, just with Biden's record, he's going to take credit for it.
Oh yeah,
he's going to say, no, we came up with all these policies and everything else. Yeah. He's done it every step of his political career over the last almost 50 years.
Well, he's really done it lately. Everything he takes credit for that somebody else did, if it's a good thing. And if anything goes wrong, it's everybody else's fault.
That's true.
I mean, that's just the way he's been his whole political life, and he's not going to change now. And personally, I don't think he's mentally capable of handling and doing the job.
No.
But anyhow.
Yeah, Terrell Reagan nailed it. He's like, he might want to tell the cartels that because I don't think they got the message. That's a proven fact, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
That is a proven fact. So, yeah.
Well, you watch them coming across that river and crawling over the top of the walls and everything else and walking right through where they haven't finished the wall because he stopped construction on them. And now they're thinking they might have to go ahead and finish it or something. I don't know. There's a lot of lawsuits going against Biden and all them for closing it down.
Right.
But it's just, these people they forgot what we came to our ancestors came to this country for. And they can't realize why other people are trying to leave and come here to get away from the very thing that they're trying to put into political things here.
Right. And Dean, I apologize. I misinterpreted a word there. I misused one. So anti-Semitic because, it could be. I mean, because we have, a lot of folks coming from all over the globe trying to come into the country, but if they close the borders down, it's not really going to play out very well. So anyhow, but seriously though, I mean, it's they're not going to, for them to close the border is stupid. It's not going to work. And like Terrell said, you let the coyotes and the cartels and everybody else know that no guys can't come in. We're closed. Yeah, right. Okay. Doesn't quite work like that. That's the reason why a lot of these policies were put in place.
Yeah, they're all because of what what Biden and all of them have done. They have enriched the cartel and all their supporters, people that help them in the different things. Their whole crews. They've just enriched them, so they're making fortunes. They're making fortunes from people's misery.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, so moving things on, I got to ask a question.
Go for it.
Now, here's the big. We talked a little bit about this on BB Nation Radio yesterday. Now, the biggest thing, or another big thing that's going on right now, is over in the Middle East.
Oh yeah,
between Hamas and the Israelis. Here, what was it? Saturday morning. IDF. Yeah, they wound up taking out a building that apparently housed all the, a lot of AP offices in the Gaza Strip.
Yeah,
and that nature. One thing that was failed to be reported on by a lot of those media outlets was, well, first off, they're all trying to bash, they're they're trying to bash the Israelis for it. The Israeli
They're
Defense
protecting
Forces,
themselves.
because they're like, oh, well, they attacked reporters. No, they did not attack reporters. They took out the building to get to the tunnels that were under the building that Hamas was using.
Yeah.
For staging attacks and things of that nature. That is the one piece of information that was not given.
Well, that's just what's going on today. They try, if they can't give you, if they don't want to give you the information at all, or they're going to give you false information, so you believe the exact opposite. They want you to believe like they do, and you're not supposed to have a mind of your own.
Yeah. Okay.
But you know, I guess I'm too old to go with their agenda. I just, it's just not my way of living, and not the way I raised my children. And I tell you, my dad he'd turn over his grave right now.
Yeah.
And my grandfathers, all my ancestors, you know, I've got a lot of ancestors that have done a lot to protect this country, given their lives for this country.
Yep.
And so it's frustrating to see what's going on today. The people trying to tear apart our whole way of life. They want to
control, a lot of alliances and things of that nature too.
They want to control everything that you do. And oh yeah, you're gonna
see. Nick nailed it. Took out a ton of terrorists. They faked the ground assault to get the bad guys to tunnels and blew up the tunnels to minimize civilian casualties. That is exactly what the IDF did, and they did it beautifully. They really did, because you gotta think, how many times have we seen deception used in?
How many of those
in wartime history?
How many of those rockets and things that they Hamas and all them been sending over into Israel, and actually trying to take out schools with children in it? And now that's.
But the mainstream won't cover that. Well, they won't tell you that.
They better wake up, because if they don't, pretty soon, we're going to be in worse shape than they are.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately a lot of it's starting to get to that point. So,
well, it's going to change. It has to.
One would hope. It really does.
There's just too many people in this country that know better. And you look, the people are waking up. There seem to be, anyhow, people I've talked to, and I've talked to liberals, I've talked to Democrats, progressives, all of them, in different areas, this basically in my life where I meet up with them and stuff.
Yeah. And yes, Richie, we did. We did it. We used that tactic back in 91 during the Gulf War against Saddam Hussein, as in trying to put the word out that, yes, we were staging a major amphibious assault going to come in from the Gulf Coast to invade Kuwait and into Iraq. And we actually wound up coming from the other side, faked them out with a right and came in with the left hook and freaking took them down. And, when we talk about deception, take a look at what the Allies did back in the 40s during World War II. You want a prime example? Take a look at D-Day. D-Day was a huge, huge undertaking of deception, because we had the Axis powers full that we were actually going to invade farther north.
Exactly.
Into France than what we actually did versus Omaha and Utah Beach.
More battles have been won in every instance by deception. That's what I call when they misdirection. And they do that.
Yes, Dean, we did.
What did we do?
Oh, he was asking, he's like, didn't we use like inflatable tanks in Germany to trick them into thinking we were bigger than we were?
Yes.
It wasn't just so much as the size of the force. It was did the same at Normandy. Well, Utah, Omaha Beach, those were beaches at Normandy. Yeah. But, when we talk about with that stuff, they, it was used as a deception. It was used as a misdirection. They put stuff up for German spotters to actually say, oh, no, these guys are over here. When in all reality, we're coming from, a different direction and a different location. And it played out.
Well, they got that information. The Germans were really fooled by it. The German officers and all that, the big wheels, were really deceptive, or really deceived. They thought that all this was going to happen in one way, and it didn't. It happened exactly the opposite of what they thought was going to happen.
Yep. And it played out to our favor.
Oh, yeah. And
there's a reason we back-to-back World War champs, baby. Anyhow.
One of the
back-to-back champs. Ooh.
But in those days, you didn't hear about anything until a week or two later.
Yeah, because you didn't have the media blasting everything out there like we do today. And a lot of it started, honestly, as far as with a lot of real-time information, was back during your day.
Exactly. It happened there
during Vietnam.
Right. Nam was the first one that they were instantaneous.
Yeah.
They were seeing things while it happened. And, people don't like war.
No.
They don't want anything to do with it. But if they don't see it, and it's abstract to them.
It becomes something more romanticized.
Right.
Like a lot of previous conflicts were. Not so much as like with Korea. Korea was kind of a downplayed, I guess you could say, more forgotten or pushed off. Granted, there's nothing at all against what Korean War. Those guys went through hell. They seriously did. And hats off to them every single day. But you take a look at like World War II, World War I, going back throughout American history. I mean, even so much as like, the Civil War is Civil War is a highly romanticized, conflict. I mean, you just take a look at the stories that come out of it. Here's a prime example for you. You want to talk about romanticization, I guess is the word you would use.
Okay.
For a conflict, take a look at the classic Gone with the Wind. Frankly, Miss Scarlett, I don't give a damn.
Right.
Prime Civil War romanticized storyline of it.
Exactly.
But you don't see that now with what now that reality, I guess now you can say that a lot of the American public has seen exactly, or not going to say exactly, but has gotten a taste of what it actually looks like.
Well, up to a point.
That's why I said to a point.
The sad part is they see, they're especially lately, they're seeing what we're doing to the enemy. Okay. They'll see that, but they don't see what the enemy did to us.
Yeah.
They just ignore that. Oh, that's nothing. You guys have to live with that. But if we did some of the things that the Japanese or the Chinese or whatever did to us.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you, who some of the worst ones were in history? The Spaniards.
Oh, yeah. Spaniards. Ooh. You want to talk about savage.
Back in the colonial days, you're talking about they were sadistic.
Mm-hmm.
And they loved they'd do it. They do sadistic things to you and laugh at it while they're doing it.
A lot of people thought the Vikings and Norse type of folks were brutal. Yeah, they were brutal, but as far as like getting enjoyment out of the things that they did, the Spaniards are definitely they're up there towards the top, man.
What they did to the natives and everything there in Florida area and
all throughout the Bahamas, the West Indies, even into Central and South America, same thing.
So it really doesn't matter whether you're white, black, brown, green, red, yellow, whatever. Don't make any difference. In history, you're going to find that somebody of every race or whatever has committed things that the people now wish that hadn't happened, but they did.
Exactly.
They just have to remember that.
We're all guilty of something. Every
Right.
single race, creed, and color is guilty of something. There are none that are purely innocent. There's only one that is, and it's not even a full race. That's just a single individual. Well, at least in my beliefs.
I mean, ages ago, they had the Indians would capture people, make slaves out of them or whatever. And early times, the natives in this country, along with the natives in Africa and a lot of other countries, guess what they did to people when they captured them, their enemies? What do you think they did to them?
Sorry, say that part one more time. I was reading comments.
Oh, what do you think that they did? These early natives in Africa and in even the United States, well,
throughout North America,
South.
They
America.
killed the men. They freaking enslaved the women and children.
They ate them.
Oh well, yeah. Then you have some cannibalistic ones. Yeah,
they went in the pot. You made slaves out of some of them, and others they ate.
Yeah.
If they didn't see you as a viable slave, why you were gone. You were
sent to slaughter somehow, some way.
Yeah, you were eaten
or left for the critters, one way or the other.
Yeah. So we've just got to clean up the history. I mean, history is what it is.
History is what it is. There's no real cleaning it up.
No, well, I don't mean clean up, but
because now you're talking cancel culture.
Well, we don't need to cancel out anything. And our history is our history. We have to learn from history and go on and be better people for it. And as we
nailed it, Nick, or scalped and hung out to quote unquote warn others.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not wrong on that one.
That's right. So, let's forget about, let's learn from the past. Let's learn from our history and not try and throw it away and change it, because you can't change what's happened. What you can do is change what's going ahead. And what's going on right now should not be happening to anybody.
No, it should not.
And it's when your own government is trying to take over and run your whole life for you. That's getting way too far out of hand.
Yes, it is indeed. So, all right, Pops. Well, we got about a minute and a half left before we got to wrap things up. So, final thoughts.
Well, people, let's just stand up and be accounted for, and let's make sure that everybody knows what we want, what we feel is right. And protection of our children and giving our children the right to live the way we have as youngsters and all that. Let's let them have it.
There you go. All right, you guys. Well, that's going to do it for us here on this week's edition of Pop Steaks. So please be sure to head over and check our website once again over at backwoodsvets.com, where you can catch up on everything that's going on. Head over, buy your tickets for that Vortex Impact 850 rangefinder that we are raffling off, donated by our friends over at Vortex Optics, helping benefit our friends over at the Fallen Outdoors. Tickets are $10 a piece, $200 value, helping out a great organization.
I got to say,
what's up?
Remember who you're helping out with this thing. And for you hunters, or you outdoors people, or shooters, or whatever, these rangefinders are fantastic to have.
Yes, they are. Yeah. And this one is made by Vortex, so it's a good one.
Yeah, it's good quality.
It certainly is. So, anyhow, guys, head to our website, go get your tickets.
Get your tickets now.
By God. And in the meantime, I will talk to you guys tomorrow night over there on Spreaker.com, over on the Spreaker app, for another episode of The Fence Line Country, right here on Backwoods Veterans Media. So appreciate it, guys. Pops, thank you once again. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow night. Meantime, have a good one, everybody. Adios.
Take care.